Hello everyone, 3 objectives today. Firstly, we're just going to be explaining how narrative structure has an effect on the reading experience. Secondly, we're going to be thinking about how Woolf then uses the structure of the text to reflect the experience of living in London. And then finally, we're going to think about how structure might have some relation to us interpreting the text from a feminist perspective. This is similar to when we were looking at Frost and we were thinking about how the form and the organisation and the structure of the poem symbolised some of the poet's messages. It's therefore really important, I think, that you've got your combo sheets in front of you so that you look at this section. That's what we're after today, and then especially you're going to be doing the development of the text, thinking about how the text moves forward, but also you might also think about things like Woolf's use of paragraphing, sentence structure. You might think about, although there are no chapters, you might think about the different sections, and also maybe even the rhythm of her language, and especially the sort of the rhythm of the way in which the text progresses. You might also think about the openings and the endings of the text and when they fall for different characters. And let's not forget why you're doing this. You're doing it because all of these things have an influence on these as well. You're going to be thinking about how we might interpret feminism using form and structure. You're going to be thinking about how we might be looking at Woolf's ideas and the characters and how they develop. More importantly, today, you're looking at the central theme of London. How can an author use structure to explore life, London, and a single moment? Mrs Dalloway is a text about moving through a city. It's structured around a single day and around the streets of London. It follows different characters as they move, interact, change direction, and witness events, sometimes at the same time, sometimes at different times. It is possibly the most vivid and certainly one of the most famous and effective attempts to capture the experiences of men and women in a city ever. There are a couple of terms you need to know before you can really do this learning successfully. The first is linear or chronological narrative. This is where the beginning of the novel starts at a time and then all the events in the novel follow chronologically after each other as they would do in real life. In a non-linear narrative, the rules of the clock don't quite apply in the same way. So you can have flashbacks, you might have dual narratives, you might see the same event, maybe later on in the novel from a different perspective. Okay, so just to recap, we're looking at the effect of the narrative structure on the reading experience and also about how that structure might reflect what Virginia Woolf is trying to convey about London. And this is how we're going to do it. You're going to produce a narrative map of the text, and by doing so, hopefully you'll gain an understanding of the structure that will allow you to respond to those objectives in increasing detail. Your challenge is to produce a narrative map of London, showing the progress of 3 sets of characters as the novel develops. The first, Clarissa Dalloway, the second, Peter Walsh, and the third, a couple, Septimus and Rezia. There's a link on my blog that will take you to a website that's called Mapping Virginia Woolf, and you also have the cards that tell you the event, when it takes place, and what time of day it takes place. If you click on the website, you will be able to see it shows you where the events take place. You then need to add these to your own map and also indicate what event is happening at that point. Once you've done this for each character, and this is a bit of a challenge, you'll need to think about how to space this and how to display it. You might move on to something that looks like this. Around your map, you have an opportunity to explore some of the initial questions that we looked at. You might add some paragraphs. You could give me some TP explanations of some of our initial learning objectives. Or you might need this space to add in some extra details about the events, the characters, or the locations. You might also consider a chronological timeline of each character, showing where they're at different times of day, though that might be quite difficult to do, but worthwhile. You'll need a title, and you'll also need to display the learning objectives somewhere on the poster. Good luck.